Okay, well, hopefully you've watched the presentation regarding the Bona floor treatment programs. I thought it'd be useful if we just go through quickly the steps within the silver diamond recoat system. Just to remind you, this is a really useful process where the floor is in a reasonably good condition, but it's just got minor surface damage. So it doesn't really require a full resand back to bare wood, the gold sanding system if you like. So instead, we're just going to clean the surface, lightly key it, and then apply a further coat of the Traffic HD product. So obviously a faster, less intensive, and ultimately cheaper refurbishment option. Where this is particularly useful is for large areas like sports floors, schools, places like this, where the diamond recoat can be used periodically in order to prevent any wear from progressing back to bare wood. In this way, it's going to greatly extend the life of the surface and eliminate largely the requirement for sanding back to bare wood and the disruption which comes with that. Now, it's important to state that the floor we're using today is the one that we've been finishing throughout these films that we've made. And so we know the history of this surface. We know that there's no polish on there, there's no other maintenance products. It's just the Craft Oil 2K and a couple of coats of Traffic. However, of course, in many situations, we don't know what maintenance products have been used. There could have been polish used, we just don't know sometimes. So we've got two approaches that we can use to prepare the surface. Now, of course, if the floor has received any maintenance products, polishes and whatnot, those all have to be removed. And the way that we remove these is using the Bona Diamond Abrasives. But before we do that, we need to clean the floor thoroughly. And for this, we're going to use the Bona Deep Clean solution. This on itself, along with the white brushes that we have fitted to the Bona Power Scrubber, it's going to be really effective at removing dirt and also some of maintenance products that are present. Like I say, we have none here. So we clean the floor effectively with the Power Scrubber, and then once the surface is dry, and you'll see how quickly it dries, it leaves very little water remaining on the surface. We can then abrade the surface with the Bona Quattro disc, which we used earlier, and the Bona Diamond Abrasives. In this case, we're going to use the 240 grit. We know that there's no polish on the floor, but if we needed to remove polish, we're able to do this by using two sets of diamond discs. We would start off with the 80 grit and then use the 240 grit. So I'm going to make a start now with the cleaning of the floor using the Deep Clean solution. So that's already been mixed up and added to the tank. Okay, we can see that following the use of the Power Scrubber, the surface is essentially dry. This is due to the powerful vacuum which sucks up through two suction bars at the front and the back of the machine. So there's just a few little spots there, so I'll just quickly wipe those with a mop, and then we're ready for the next step. Okay, so we're going to use the Quattro plate, remember the unpowered drive board for the FlexiSand. So these discs are going to go around a lot slower than when it's used with the cog driven system. And we've got the 240 grit diamond abrasives fitted. Now what's useful about the 240 grit abrasives is because they're so fine, we don't get any visible scratches. Now on the surface we're treating today, which has got an extra matte finish, that's perhaps a little less critical. We're not going to see scratches even if we used a slightly coarser like the 120 grit. However, if you're doing a glossy surface, the 240 is definitely the best one to use. You won't get any visible scratches coming through when you've applied the next coat. So I'm just going to quickly abrade the surface with the 240. And what's very common with this system is that because the abrasive is so fine, the dust that it produces is also very fine and sticks by static to the surface. So we can see, even with the vacuum running, which is ordinarily very good at picking up dust, we've got that electrostatic effect on the finish, and it holds this very fine flour-like dust. So the next step is going to be to remove this. I think it'd be a simple process of just wiping it down with a damp mop, but that doesn't really work effectively. So we're going to be using the power scrubber again, this time filled just with clean water, and that will wash all the fine dust from the surface. One thing that's particularly useful about this recoat system is that because the abrasives contain diamonds, it means that it's going to abrade the surface however hard it is. So any ceramic reinforced pre-finished product that may be used, this is effective at keying it. And this is a really critical part of encouraging optimal adhesion between our applied coating and the substrate. So I'm now going to clean this all off before we then recoat. So with the surface now completely dry, see there's no scratches in the surface, it's perfectly keyed without damaging the existing finish. So now I'm going to apply a further coat of the Traffic HD Extra Matte.